wanted to invite SIDS and alumni with distinction for his dissertation to share us about his experiences. And SIDS is a project manager with more than 10 years of experiences. Now he is also a supervisor in WMG. Now I would like to invite up someone who's really something that you can learn from. So let's welcome SIDS.
Good evening, everybody. My actual name is Saad Ahmad, but everybody calls me SIDS. The reason is that because it's very difficult to pronounce my name, so I've been told. So that's why I go with my surname, nickname, SIDS. Just give me 1 second. I will pull up the presentation, and then we can start. I know it's Friday night, and you would rather be out there partying than to listening to me blabbing on about my experiences so far. First thing first, can everybody hear me properly?
Yeah.
Yes. Good. Excellent. Okay. So as per the flyers that were distributed, and you might have seen them scattered all across WMG and online, this presentation that I'm going to do is basically on my experiences throughout my time in Warwick. Just a bit of disclaimer is the fact that please do not take this as my personal experiences that I'm sharing with you, not a best practice kind of thing. Because everybody is different, everybody's circumstances are different. So some things that might work or might have worked for me may not work for you. So just because I'm sharing this, do not treat it as, set in stone kind of thing, right? I don't want to be blamed after 1 year saying that, oh, SIDS told us to do something like this. Sorry, that's not the way it is. I'm just sharing my experiences, that how I did things and what I went through in my 1 year in Warwick. So, first, ground rules. I like rules. As 2 of my students are here, they will tell me I like rules. First thing, can I please ask everybody to put your phone on silent?
Yeah.
From now on.
Good.
Cut off.
Big no-no. Sleeping is not allowed. I know you guys are tired, it's Friday night, and most of you are coming from modules. But I'm a believer that either you don't do anything, or if you're doing it, regardless of whether it is on a voluntary basis or whatever, do it properly. So the fact that you guys are here means that you have made the commitment to not go anywhere else and be here. So let's not waste anybody's time. I took a day off just to be here, and you guys are also making an effort to coming here. And I know it's 7 o'clock on Friday night. It doesn't go well to be stuck in a lecture. So please utilize your time effectively. Sleeping is not allowed. And find you sleeping, you will be named and shamed. And one last thing. Please, put your phones on silent if you haven't already done so. Okay? Okay, so moving on the agenda of this presentation, there are 3 main things. So how this worked was that we held a workshop right at the beginning of the year for students of WMG PPM specifically. We actually target anybody who was interested in risk management or just to learn something about their year in WMG. But I think eventually it turned out to be all PPM students, majority of them were PPM students. Now, we have subsequently created a discussion group which is on Facebook, and a lot of you I can see very familiar faces because a lot of you are already part of that group. And we've been running that group successfully for the last few weeks. Now, as part of that group, this event is actually initiated and created by that group and is being managed by that group. So I asked the students to tell me what they want me to give presentation on. Because I'm an alumni, I've been there and I've done it. So it's you guys to tell me what you want to learn from me, or what experiences you want me to share with you guys. So I think there was a poll online on Facebook, if I remember correctly. So the poll was asking that, okay, what questions you would like me to answer. So some of the things that were mentioned in those, in that poll, so the top 3 things were these. How did you manage your PMA, or how to manage a PMA? How to manage your project, and then some, social aspects of life at work. What? Sorry? Yeah, exactly. So I've basically divided this presentation into three parts. The first one is how I managed my PMAs during my time in Warwick. What technologies, what tools I used, what processes I used, that kind of stuff. Then project, and then my social life and work. So let's start. Before I start, just to give you a brief overview of myself. I'm originally from Pakistan, and yes, I may sound like a Yank, but I'm not. Believe me or not. So there's another story behind it, but I'm not going to bore you with that. I did my master's in program project management in 2005 and 6 and got a distinction for my thesis. Not an overall distinction, just for my thesis. I would like to clear that out because people generally think that I have an overall distinction. No, I don't. I will be lying if I say that, which is not true. I am also, this year, have been given 2 students. Yurkish and Athanas are 2 of my students this year. Tough luck to them, unfortunately, but that's the way things are. I have more than 10 years experience in project management, program and project management at a variety of roles and across 6 different industries in red on screen right now. I have worked in a variety of roles ranging from project support till senior project manager and program manager and PMO manager. And I'm currently working as a project manager in a company called Travelport. It's a software development company, and they develop softwares for the travel industry. And I'm currently responsible for a portfolio of about worth $20 million worth of budget. And last but not least, these are some of the things that I have personal interest in. So, moving on. PMAs. How many of you have actually done your first PMA? You haven't? Oh! Oh! Ladies and gentlemen, we have a virgin among us. PMA. So you still haven't done a PMA?
I started late.
Good.
I got 6 weeks and my deadline is what I got.
Okay. So how many modules you have before Christmas? 4. Okay. Fine. So, and actually, sorry, I should have asked the other question. How many have you actually submitted your first PMA? Well done, well done. So if I ask, how long do you think you decided that, or you set aside your time that it will take you to do your PMA? 2 weeks?
More.
4? 1?
1 week.
1, 2, 3, 4. Anybody 5?
Possible.
Anyone for 6? And how long it actually took you to do that?
2 weeks.
2.
Less than 2.
10 working days.
And was that the first 1 week or the last 1 week?
It was the last one.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was trying to get to. Now, my experience is that PMAs for me were a testing ground for my thesis. Now, people might tell you something different, that don't treat PMA as a pilot for your thesis. and they are right up to some extent, but there's still a lot of information that you get from, sorry, you can still get from your PMAs, because you're still working against a timeline. There is a deadline that you have to submit it by. You are still going to do research, you're still going to read articles, you're still going to read books. There still needs to be a structure in your PMA. And without that structure, you are not going to get any marks, right? So that alone in itself is the learning you can get from your PMAs, which you can apply to your thesis. For PMAs only, this statement for me is very important. The first week after your module is the most important one that you can potentially have. Because that's where you can build all the momentum to do your PMA. If you lose your first week, you basically are piling up the pressure on yourself. And the tendency that normally most of the students have, oh, it's okay, I have 5 weeks, I have 6 weeks, I can do my PMA later. But the fact that you're missing out is that it's only 1 year master's degree. It's not a bachelor's degree for 4 years. You have 12 months. You have potentially 10 modules, and you have 10 PMAs, and you have one at least 25,000 words thesis to write. So focus on your first week after your module. Try to do as much as work as possible during that first week. No matter, even if you have back-to-back modules, you finish at 5:30, most on average, right?
6:30.
6:30. Put 1 hour extra. That's at average. Okay, 6:30. You go home, you reach home by probably 8, 9. Settle down by 9, 9:30.
9 is okay.
9. Even if you spend 1 or 2 hours every day, from 9 till 11, that's still within your beauty sleep time. And there's a research that shows you that nowadays, because of all this data available to us, our sleeping patterns are getting shorter and shorter. So in historic terms, our body needed about 10 hours beauty sleep, but that average has come down to 8 hours now. So the optimal amount of time your body needs to function is 8 hours sleep. So, it's still within that 8 hours sleep. If you wake up at 7 o'clock every day, go to bed at 11, that's still 8 hours. But we know most of us, we are awake till 1, 2 every morning. So why not utilize that time? I'm not suggesting that you spend all your night working on your PMA, but just 2 hours a night, not more than that. So that is so the first week after your module is very important. You need to focus on that. You need to, if you don't have a module, that's the best possible time you can get to finish your PMA within a week. It is possible. You guys just mentioned it. I heard a lot of voices about 1 week. Maruf was one of them, who's playing on his mobile now. You were one of them, right? You said 1 week. 1.5,
Yeah.
but the last 1.5, not the first 1.5, right? So had you spent that 1.5 week right after your module had finished?
Actually, I divided it. The 0.5 weeks, I made the structure before.
Mm-hmm.
So I had it in my head, so
Yeah.
last week I did it.
Good. So, retrospectively looking at things, right? Was it possible for you, if you had chance that you finish your module and then there was nothing going on for you in the next week, retrospectively looking back, do you think you were able to finish it within a week?
Yes.
Straight afterwards? There you go. You guys are capable of doing it. It's just that realization. It took me 3 PMAs to realize this. So, I'm just sharing my experience with you guys. If you want to learn from it, it will be good for you. If you don't, again, it will be good for you. It doesn't bother me at all, because I'm just sharing my experiences. Exactly the same thing that I just mentioned. Set aside some time to work on your PMAs every day, even during your module. I've mentioned Project Wednesdays. I'll come back to this later in the next slide. So just hold on to that. But the concept is that you need to work on your PMAs, even during your modules. Second very important thing, you need to understand the question. The question being asked in your PMA, because a lot of us have a tendency to just make assumptions and then move ahead with those assumptions. Has anybody seen this? Now, it is not exactly aligned with what a PMA should be, but this is the example that is given in almost every training in product management and project management in professional world. And this is related to requirements management. So you can see that how it's a complete breakdown of requirement and information and communication between the different functions of the organization. So consider this as what your supervisor are asking you to do in your PMA. And then you can basically align yourself with any of these things while you're working on your PMA. Don't do that. Understand what the requirement is. If you don't know what you're answering for, any answer will be okay, which eventually will mean that you will fail. So understand what the question is. It is very important to understand it. In product management, that is the most important thing, is to develop a product based on the requirements of the customer. If the customer has no requirement, there is no need to develop a product. It's as simple as that. But it's not applicable because people just go ahead and do stuff. Do you agree with point number 3?
Yes.
And can anybody tell me why? Any observation?
Laptop failure.
Sorry?
Laptop failure.
No, that was a very special case.
Well, it can happen any time.
That was a very special case.
Optimistic forecast.
Sorry?
Optimistic forecast.
Yes. So what Yerkish said was optimistic forecast. We have a tendency to be macho and overly optimistic about our own abilities. But we won't find that out unless and until we go back and analyze what we've done. Now, so almost everybody has submitted their first PMA, right? How many have actually sit down and thought about why it took you that duration to do your PMA? Raise your hands. How many have done actually that analysis, that self-analysis? Yeah. So this is not raised hand. This is like probably maybe yeah. So it's either that or no. So this doesn't mean anything. So I would say half. Probably you've done some analysis. So you can see among yourself, everybody submitted the first module, the first PMA, but probably a handful of people have only gone back and done the necessary analysis of why it took you either so long or so late to finish your PMA and deliver your PMA. So can I ask, what was the finding? Why did you, apart from the laptop thing, of course.
Well, I started late, and then the laptop thing happened.
But why did you start late? And I'm not picking
Because
up on you, but I'm just asking.
I had 2 modules back to back, and then we had 4 weeks time.
Okay.
So basically, I didn't do anything during the module weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was actually really exhausted, and although I tried, but even the reading didn't really work.
Okay.
And then obviously I ran into a time problem, and then the laptop thing happened, and then everything was just very
Fair enough. That's a good. So you did analysis as well, right?
Yes, I did.
So what was your analysis?
I think it was a literature review. I went to Spain to use perhaps like 4 books, and then realised it's not enough. So I have to read more to really do the case. So that's become and also I'm kind of I always have to go back to my rewrite my work.
Yeah.
Then change things and readjust. So it really is a combination of literature review underestimate the amount of book I have to read, and but I have to go back and read my work.
So, okay, that's a very interesting thing. I will ask you the same question I asked Maru. Retrospectively, looking at this, if you had the choice of doing something different, do you think you were able to complete it within a week, straight after module?
Perhaps, because the modules should be fresh in mind.
Let's extend it. Maybe not 1 week, 2 weeks.
2 weeks, of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it is possible. It is absolutely possible. You just have to realize the fact. And I'm sure that everybody will have the same opinion if you go back and analyze what you submitted, how long it took you, why it took you so long, and ask yourself these questions. Because that's what you are here to learn, to ask questions. You are not going to learn anything if you don't ask questions. Anybody can read books. I can give a book to a child from class 10. They can read books as well. It's English. But we are at master's level at one of the top 10 or 5 universities in UK. You are expected to understand, analyze, ask questions. You are doing your master's, not even bachelor's, which will lead you to your PhD if anybody wants to do that. So you have to start thinking that way. Ask questions to yourself. Why am I doing this? Is there any better way to do this? Can I employ any other different process to do this? If something is not working for you, change it. Don't be afraid to change. I was asked a question outside that I look different. I had clean shave, then I had beard, then I have a goatee. I like change. It gives me different data. It gives me different understanding. Not just, the beard. The beard gives me no data, but I'm just saying that. I like to experiment a lot, even in my professional and personal life. Because that tells me a lot about what I want to do. And unless and until you have experimented, you are not going to know how things will turn out if you don't experiment. For me, failure is more, how to put it? You learn more from a failure than from a success. Because failure actually tells you how things can go wrong and then how you are actually going to mitigate that. Success, if you're building a car and you build it successfully for the first time, you are never going to find out how things can fail in there. But if I'm building a car and if I find issues at every single stage of that build-up process, I will be more successful as a project manager because I've learned so much during that process. The next time I'm going to try it, I will definitely mitigate the risks that I faced in the first try. So that's why it's very important to keep asking yourself these questions. Why am I doing this? Can I do it even better? And stuff like that. Again, very important, and this sort of relates to a person's personality as well. Now, I know there are a lot of cultural issues as well. There are certain cultural elements involved in there. I know Chinese are very polite and very gentle. They normally don't want to be aggressive. They would like to be very gentle in their approach. But sometimes that doesn't work. If you're an introvert person and would like to keep your feelings inside you, it's not healthy. And then you miss out on all the information that you might be able to gain by asking questions. Extroverts, on the other hand, they get all the limelight. They get everything. They ask questions, they are aggressive, they're in your face. But by doing that, they're actually doing you benefit as well, because you are unable to ask questions. So they potentially are asking questions on your behalf. But they are getting the most information as well by doing that. It's a cutthroat world out there, I'm telling you right now. It's not easy. Survival of the fittest in its every single true meaning of the word, of the term. So you have to ask. That's what you are here for. That's what you've paid your fees in Warwick University, and that's why you're spending your 1 year at this university. Do your research. Change the way you've been thinking so far. Keep focusing on things. Why am I doing it? Is there any better way to do it? Can I do anything different? That kind of stuff. If you have any doubt, nobody's stopping you to go and approach your tutor and ask the question, sorry, I don't understand, can you please explain? Or can you give me 10-15 minutes? Most of you, I think, live on campus, right? Just go after a module, see if your that tutor is teaching again on campus. Come out after he's finished with his module. Just either approach him and say, if I need 5 minutes or 10 minutes of your time, can you please explain this? I'm just having a bit of doubt about this. I'm pretty sure they will be very helpful in that. They won't say no, because nobody wants to see you fail. Everybody wants to help you get the maximum amount of this 1 year and your investment in time and money as much as possible. So don't assume. Start asking questions. And again, this is related to better to be safe than to be, sorry. Okay, now this specific point I was discussing with Kelly earlier as well. I touched on this. Don't take it the wrong way, but you have to set your priority for this 1 year. The statistic over there, that's what I realized when I was working on my 1 year master's degree. Only 9 PMAs will be accounted towards your master's degree in the end, which is 50% of your overall master's, which gives you a percentage of 5.5% per PMA in terms of marks, against 50% of marking for your thesis. So the point I'm trying to make is that the more time you spend on your PMA, the less time you will have for your thesis. And those of you who were present at the workshop, they would remember the breakdown of all the 52 weeks that I did. So it is very important that you understand your goal, what you're trying to do. Personally, for me, PMAs were not that important. For me. And I'm saying again, for me. Because I don't want to portray this message to you guys, oh, PMAs are not important, just don't work. No, work on them. It's about your priority. For me, PMAs were never priorities, because they were not teaching me as much as I wanted to learn. I only got 3 distinctions in PMAs out of my 10. I think I did 10. The rest were just above average. I don't care. Don't mind. I was passing everything. Fine. The three distinctions that I got were my favorite most subjects. And I really worked really hard and I learned a lot from them as well. So yes, that was my priority because I realized that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on PMA because it will going to eat into my time for my thesis. And for my thesis for me was everything. I am very proud of my thesis and my achievement that I got a distinction for my thesis. I don't care whether I got an overall distinction or not. It was not my objective. By the end of the day, I will have a piece of paper, a degree. Now, whether you've done or whether you've received a distinction, or whether you're just passed or you're just barely passed, good pass, as long as you pass, that will still get you to an interview. So, know your goal, understand your goal. What do you want to do? How do you want to manage your time? Time management is the most important element of your master's degree. And time management is the most important skill you will need being a project manager in the world out there. Gone are the days when people had specialized resources. You are expected to be the finance person, the HR person, the planner, the manager, the governance, the administrator, and the support guy. All in one person. That is the harsh reality of the world out there. So manage and learn to manage your time effectively. Any questions so far? Before I move on to the next one?
Yeah, actually, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Like distinction, you have got distinction in the thesis.
Yes.
So will that show on the degree? After you finish, you get a degree. Will
No.
it show on paper?
No.
No.
It only shows when you have an overall distinction.
Okay. So
in my
including
case,
the PMAs.
sorry, please go ahead.
Including PMAs, all the PMAs should get distinction and the thesis.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
will show on the
So
paper.
when you have distinction in your PMAs
Yes.
and you have distinction in your thesis, then you get an overall distinction.
Okay.
So I didn't have any distinction in my thesis, in my PMAs,
Yes.
but I got a distinction in my thesis.
Yes.
I got, I think, 76 or 77 in my thesis.
Okay, gotcha. Another question is about the PMA. Like you said, like when you finish one module, the following week should start to
Yes.
do the PMA. The better way is after the last day of the module,
Yeah.
you started to write the PMA.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's very hard because after the final day you'll be very tired and
No. Sorry, you misunderstood me. I never said that start on Saturday. I
okay.
said start on Monday.
All right.
I count things as a working week. For me, working week is Monday to Friday.
All right.
Okay. So if I go back to sorry. The title can you see this? It says,
Play hard and
well, actually, you should have said work hard,
okay.
but that's a mistake on my behalf, actually. So it should have said work hard and party harder.
Okay.
I absolutely believe in that principle. I work more than 50 hours a week,
Okay.
but I equally take a lot of time for my own self. So when I'm in the office, I'm absolutely professional about it. But once I leave the office, I do not work at all. That's the principle that I've adopted for the last 5 years. So it's all about managing your expectations and managing your time. Okay. Any other question?
Thanks.
Okay. Questions? Yes, please.
Like you said, you got distinction in 3 PMAs as well.
Yes.
So what really differentiates a distinction PMA from an ordinary PMA? Because by the time we get a result of a PMA, we would have already submitted a few.
A, you know. You know straight away. When you submit that PMA, you will know straight away whether it is a distinction level or not. First thing. Second thing, there is no one fit for all kind of solution for that, unfortunately. Because, and the reason behind it is that there are people involved, tutors. Everyone has a different personality. And it is very subjective. That's the main thing. It's not A plus B is equal to, well, sorry, it's not 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, right? It's A plus B is equal to C. Now, whatever value of A or B you can do, you will get C. I would have loved to have said that it is 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, but unfortunately it's not possible. Because you and I can write the same PMA with the same amount of time, effort, words, references, and it potentially can go to the same tutor as well, but it might have different results. Might. So I think you are the best judge of your own PMA because you know how you have written it. And one thing I would like to say here is that the REME module, I know a lot of you will disagree completely and might not even go to REME, but it is very important. I'm telling you, it is absolutely important to go to REME module and attend it. It is vital for your thesis because a lot of you, sorry, yeah, it's the REME research methodology module I'm referring to. I think there are 2 runnings this year of the module. So it is vital for you to attend that. If not for your PMA, but